dentist walks in with a large needle to give Mr. Pensky a shot of Novocaine. Pensky sees the needle and says, "Not a chance, no way, I hate needles." The dentist puts down the needle and begins prepping the laughing gas. "Stop, I can't do gas either, it makes me nauseous." The dentist says, "Well, can you at least take a pill?" Mr. Pensky replies, "Yes, that I can do." The dentist brings Mr. Pensky a blue pill. "Here, take this Viagra." "I had no idea that Viagra works as a painkiller," says Mr. Pensky. The dentist replies, "It doesn't, but it'll give you something to grab onto while I'm yanking out your tooth." A newly arrived young lady is standing at the pearly gates of heaven, waiting for St. Peter to grant her admission. Suddenly, she hears horrible screams of pain coming for the admissions building. She asks St. Peter, "What's going on in there?" St. Peter replies, "That's the sounds of the new angels. They're getting big holes drilled in the backs to attach their new wings, and little holes drilled in their heads for their halos." She says, "Heaven sounds horrible. Is it too late for me to go to hell?" St. Peter replies, "You can certainly go to hell if that's your choice, but you will be constantly gangbanged and sodomized down there." The young lady says, "That's okay. I've already got holes for that." A man calls up a new dentist and asks, "Do you perform root canals?" "Of course," replies the dentist. "Well, how much does the procedure cost?" "Why, we offer 3 distinct levels of root canal care. Our best, the platinum level, is completely painless, done with lasers, no bleeding, and you can go back to work an hour after we're done." The man asks, "How expensive is it?" $2,000 per tooth, answers the dentist. "Wow, what about the next level down?" "That would be our gold level," replies the dentist. "It's a bit painful, some bleeding, and takes a full day to recover." "Well, how much does that one cost?" "The gold level is $1,000 per tooth," replies the dentist. "Wow. What about the third level?" asks the man. "That would be our economy copper level. Unfortunately, it's extremely painful, lots of blood, and it requires several days of recovery time." Man asks, "And how much does that one cost?" "That one would run you $100. "That's perfect. I'd like an appointment for my mother-in-law." A New York attorney representing a very wealthy art collector called his client and said to him, "Saul, I have some good news, and I have some bad news. Which would you prefer first?" The art collector replied, "I've had an awful day. Let's hear the good news first." The attorney said, "Well, I met with your wife today, and she informed me that she invested $5,000 in 2 pictures that she thinks will bring a minimum of a 15-20 million return. I think she could be right." Saul replied enthusiastically, "Well done. My wife has always been a brilliant businesswoman. You've just made my day. Now I know I can handle the bad news. What is it?" The attorney replied, "The pictures are of you with banging your secretary." A hunter who was hiding in a cliffside perch looked down to the valley below and spotted an enormous grizzly bear sniffing the ground. He took careful aim and fired. The bear immediately staggered behind some large bushes, out of sight. The hunter climbed down the mountainside and into the valley where he had seen the bear disappear. Noticing no blood on the ground, the hunter turned to find the bear upon him. The grizzly bear tore the man's pants off and proceeded to rape him. When he had finished, he calmly walked off. The hunter soon recovered and swore vengeance against the giant grizzly. He bought himself the highest power rifle telescope available and climbed back up to his cliffside perch. He soon spotted the grizzly in his crosshairs. He took perfect aim and fired again. He was certain he got the bear this time, as it staggered and fell behind the same large bush. He climbed back down and walked over the clearing, only to be surprised by the big bear a second time. Once again, the bear tore the hunter's pants off and had his way with the man. When done, he calmly walked off. With a severely torn-up ass, the hunter swore he would exact revenge on the bear once and for all. So, he purchased a howitzer cannon with GPS targeting. From up in the cliffside, he waited and waited. Finally, the bear showed up. With the target now locked into the computerized cannon targeting system, the hunter pulled the chain. A deafening roar filled the valley as the cannon shell exploded and created a 50-foot diameter hole where the bear had stood. The now satisfied hunter climbed down the mountainside and over the crater. Suddenly, the grizzly appeared again, standing tall on his hind legs. He winked at the hunter and said, "Let's be honest, you didn't really come here to hunt, did you?" And 75-year-old man arrives at a nudist resort. After checking in, he is given the keys to his suite. As he goes to his new suite butt naked, he sees a gorgeous 20-year-old blonde heading his way and immediately gets an erection. "Did you call for me?" asks the blonde. "What do you mean?" asks the man. "We have rules here that if a man gets an erection, it means he called for a girl," says the blonde, and immediately takes him away to her suite, where they make passionate love. Later in the day, after taking a swim in the resort's pool, he is walking over to the locker room when he suddenly passes gas. Immediately, a sweaty, hairy man appears out of nowhere and asks, "Did you call me?" "No," stammers the old guy. "What do you mean?" "The rules here are, if a man farts, it means he called for me." The hairy man then spins the old man around, bends him over, and screws him in the ass. After the encounter, he immediately runs to reception and asks the woman behind the counter to give him his money back. "Didn't you like it here?" asks the receptionist. The old man replies, "Listen here, lady, I'm 75 years old. I get a boner once every 3 months and fart 20 times a day." An old man was walking on a park adjoining the cliff, famous for suicide, and saw a young woman standing at the edge, contemplating suicide. He approached her. She, "Don't come near me." Old man said, "Since you are anyway going to die, why can't you make this old man happy with a quickie?" She shrieked, "Over my dead body, you filthy pervert." Old man replied, "Okay, if that's the case, I will walk down and wait for you at the bottom." And then he walked away. The woman stood for another 10 minutes and came back to her car and left. The old man who was watching her from the bushes sighed. 7 suicide attempt saved this month. My friends, if you want to watch other funny jokes, subscribe to the channel.